And overgiving doesn't make you high value, it makes you exhausted. You're always showing up, always giving, always making sure everybody's good. But are you really receiving what you deserve? If not, it's time for a shift, because being the strong one doesn't mean overextending yourself. It's time to reclaim your energy. So we are 3 months into 2024, and be honest, are you really stepping into your high value woman era? If not, consider this your wake-up call, because here is the truth. Overgiving is blocking your glow up. And I know this firsthand. For years, I was stuck in the same cycle. I was caught up doing the most, being the reliable one, being the fixer, the woman who poured into everybody else's cup. And I thought that made me valuable. But the truth, overgiving doesn't make you high value. It makes you depleted. And today we are breaking down the mindset shift that changes everything. The shift from proving to attracting. This is how you step into your true power. As always, this video is broken down into clear chapters, making it easy for you to follow along. So get comfy, grab your matcha, because we are about to dive in. Part 1, the good girl conditioning, why we overgive. So what does it actually mean to step into your high value era? Let's start by defining what I mean by high value. Being high value isn't about your salary, isn't about your relationship status, or your social media following. It's about knowing your worth and moving through the world from a place of knowing. It's about recognizing that your time, your energy, your presence are valuable currencies, and being intentional about how you spend that time is valuable. So where do we learn that giving more makes us worth more? I'm not talking about giving from a place of abundance, giving freely, but I'm talking about giving reluctantly, because you should be able to give. But so many of us were raised to believe that being selfless, accommodating, available 24/7 was the key to being loved and respected. And we carry that energy into everything. I mean, our relationships, our careers, our friendships. We think that if we just do a little bit more, prove ourselves a little bit harder, or go the extra mile one more time, and then we will finally feel chosen and valued and prioritized. But here is the problem with that thinking. When you operate from that energy, you attract people who just take and do not reciprocate. You end up in situations where you are doing the most for people who wouldn't even do the bare minimum for you. And over time, you start feeling drained, invisible, and honestly resentful. High value women don't operate like that. They don't beg for reciprocation. They don't run themselves into the ground for validation. Instead, they move differently. And that's what we're getting into today. That is what we're diving into. Y'all, this hit me so hard during the holidays or rolling into the new year. But for me, it's extra because not only am I dealing with the holiday madness, but my entire family's birthday is in January. My husband, my son, my daughter. And for the last couple of years, I have been running myself ragged, making sure I was available to everybody at all times, not just my immediate family, but my extended family, my friends, my family. During the holidays, I wanted to make sure everybody got to see everybody, which meant making plans, coordinating schedules, flights, and making sure the kids saw their grandparents, aunts, cousins, uncles, you name it. And then before I could even blink an eye, we were rolling straight into the birthday season. And guess who was making sure everything was special? Me. And as a mom, that's what you're supposed to do. And I get joy out of that and seeing people, but coordinating all the plans to make it work. Don't get this twisted. I was giving, and I mean giving. And that's what my family has been used to. Not just my immediate family, but my extended family, my friends. I kept showing up, accommodating, because that's what I did. And I started being resentful because I wasn't moving freely. And I wasn't just giving, and I was just saying yes, just to say yes. But here's where things started to shift. After all the birthdays started to settle down, families started asking when I was planning the next get together. And for the first time, I knew that I was about to say no. I knew I needed a break. And y'all, the anxiety that I had about saying that, whoo, I felt like I was letting everybody down. But I remember staring at my phone like, I know in my heart that I'm about to say no, but my heart was racing. I felt that wave of guilt. I knew that I was going to let them down. I remember not even responding right away. I finally came back a week later and finally said, hey, this is actually not going to work out. This is bad timing for me. But you know what happened? Nothing. Life went on. Nobody was mad. Nobody made me feel guilty. They just adjusted. And that was a beautiful thing. That was a beautiful thing that I needed to understand. That's when it hit me. I had been overgiving out of habit, not because they truly expected it. So let me ask you, have you ever found yourself saying yes when you really wanted to say no? Why do you think that is? Is it obligation? Is it fear of disappointing people because you've just done this all the time? That's what you always done. Let's talk about why we do this and more importantly, how to stop. Part two, high value woman code. How to shift from overgiving to receiving. Rule number one, stop proving and start attracting. A high value woman doesn't need to over explain, over apologize, or overcompensate to be seen. Think about a time when you felt like you had to prove your worth. Maybe over explaining your work contributions, or justifying your boundaries, or chasing relationships that weren't even reciprocating. That's over giving energy right there. And let me share an example to bring it full circle to make it make sense. A few years ago, I had just moved out to Savannah and I was looking for a friend group. And I was constantly the one initiating, sending group chats, checking in on everybody. I'd be the one suggesting brunch spots, making reservations, even driving across town to make it convenient for others. I was afraid that if I didn't do this, I wouldn't have friends in this new place. The friendships would die down. And when someone would cancel last minute, I'd say no worries, even though I had spent hours planning and coordinating and making sure it made sense. I was constantly proving my worth as a friend by being the one that was most accommodating, the most understanding, and the planner who made everything happen. Then one month, life happens. I get swamped with work and family stuff, and I couldn't be the social coordinator. And guess what? Those friendships faded fast. I mean, month tops. And while it hurt at first, it was my wake up call that I needed. I was attracting friendships where my value was tied to what I could do, not who I was. Now I approach friendships differently. I have made new friends and I contribute, but I don't overfunction. And I say no when I'm disappointed. And the quality of my friendships have completely transformed. They're true, they're real. I'm now in relationships where my worth isn't based on usefulness, it's recognized simply because I exist. Now let's picture a woman who walks into a room and lets her presence speak before she does. She moves with a quiet confidence, a deep knowing of who she is, and she is enough as she is. No need to perform, no need to chase. That was who we were trying to target. The most magnetic people aren't the ones doing the most. They're the ones being the most just by being them. So how do you shift into this energy? Start by noticing where you are actually overextending. If you catch yourself over-explaining, pause. If somebody gives you a compliment, receive it without deflecting. Try a 1 week challenge of just receiving challenge. Practice allowing things to come to you instead of forcing outcomes. Ask yourself, am I doing too much to be chosen, or am I allowing myself to be in spaces where I am naturally valued? And I think that is so key. The moment you stop trying to prove, you start attracting. Rule number two, boundaries are your ultimate glow up. Let's be real, most of us were not taught to set boundaries or how to set boundaries. We were taught how to be likable, agreeable, and easy to be around. But high value women, they are selective with their energy. Not everybody gets unlimited access to them. Not everybody's around. They don't explain their no. They say it and they stand on it. They do not overcommit. They protect their time like it's gold because it is. High value women know their worth. And most importantly, they do not feel guilty about it. If you've been feeling burnt out, ask yourself, is it really life that's exhausting me? Or is it because I'm not setting enough boundaries or a lack thereof boundaries? This is where we need to shift from overgiving to owning our value. Setting boundaries isn't about building walls. It's about creating healthy gateways that protect your energy. I've broken this down into 5 easy steps for you to follow along, starting with identifying your non-negotiables. What are the things that you absolutely need for your well-being? Maybe it is 8 hours of sleep, or a morning routine without interruptions, or one day a week completely to yourself. Get crystal clear on what those are and stick to them. And if those are too big, start small. If you are not used to setting boundaries, number two, begin with low stakes. Maybe say, I don't check my emails after 7 o'clock, or I need 20 minutes of alone time after spending all day with the kids when you get home. Number three, use I statements instead of you statements. This is a very critical to make people less defensive, but try, I need time to recharge for myself. I need time to step away. This keeps the focus on you rather than putting others on the defensive, and that is most important. Number four, practice with pause. When somebody asks you to do something, don't immediately respond. Say, let me check my calendar, let me check my schedule and get back to you. This gives you space to check in with yourself before even committing. Number five, remember, discomfort is temporary. Yes, it will feel very uncomfortable at first setting boundaries. Your hands might shake, your voice might quiver, you might feel weird. That is normal. The discomfort of setting a boundary lasts minutes. The resentment of not setting one lasts so much longer. Let's bring Charlie into this. Imagine two women walk into a room. Charlie walks in late, immediately starts over-explaining, I'm sorry, traffic was crazy, then I had to go home, blah, 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 nobody really cares. I'm sorry, I promise I will make it up to you, Charlie says. Let me buy you a drink, I feel so bad. High value woman Charlie walks in. She acknowledges that she's late. She says, hey, thanks for waiting. Sorry, I appreciate it, and moves forward. Who do you think commands more respect? Who feels more solid in herself? Who do people naturally take more seriously? Charlie or high value Charlie? Over-explainer gets don't worry about it, but there's a subtle shift. People start expecting her to always overextend herself. But confident Charlie, high value Charlie, people respect her time. They might even adjust their own behavior. They might walk differently and flow differently. The difference isn't what they say, it's the energy that they bring. One is constantly overgiving and over-explaining to earn approval. The other is simply existing in her value and her truth, and that is the shift. Rule number three, shifting from doing to receiving. Here's the biggest mindset shift. The most powerful women aren't the ones running around proving their worth. They're the ones who allow good things to just come to them. They trust that they deserve to be pursued, respected, and valued without overfunctioning. This is about embodying the feminine energy in a way that makes you feel magnetic. It's not about being passive. It's about being so clear on your worth that you no longer settle for less. But that takes getting to know yourself, doing the deep work first. Let's talk about the mindset shifts. This transformation requires fundamental mindset shifts. And here's how to make the transition. Number one, recognize scarcity thinking. Notice when thoughts like, if I don't do this, no one will, or I have to earn my place here arise. This is rooted in scarcity. The belief that there isn't enough love, opportunity, recognition to go around. And this is something I definitely had to deal with as a content creator and just a mom and setting my time and kids, all of these things. You have to recognize scarcity. Number two, ask yourself, is this actually true? What evidence do I have? Often we operate on beliefs that we never question. Ask the question, think about it. Number three, visualize abundance. Spend each day imagining what it would feel like if you valued without overgiving. How would you carry yourself? What would your day look like? Getting crystal clear helps your subconscious mind recognize when it appears. Number four, celebrate other high-value women. I am all about celebrating women, but when you see somebody embody that energy, do not compare, celebrate. This reinforces the way of being is possible for you too. Number five, track your wins. Y'all know I love a good journal and start journaling, but keep a journal of the moments and honor them, respect them, write them down. So know when you say, hey, I didn't overgive today, give yourself a pat on the back. This builds the evidence that you need for your new system. Now let's talk about how this applies to relationships, because this is probably where it applies the most. Because when you overgive in relationships, you will get taken for granted. Period. When you are constantly putting yourself last, people assume that's just who you are. And that's why it's so important to voice your concerns. State your value and hold your boundaries, especially when you get married, especially when you start to have kids, especially when life starts to pick up, because That isn't about being difficult. That's being your authentic self. And that's showing up for you and showing up for your relationship. As a wife who does not identify as a stay-at-home mom, I remember feeling like I had to do everything around the house. But that took away from my own goals and aspirations. If I spent all day cooking, cleaning, watching the kids, then there was no time for me. I wasn't happy. I was not happy. I was just moving in my life, being a mom, being a wife. But where was Kaylin in all of this? And that was a question that needed answered. But I kept giving because I was looking for words of affirmation. But what I really needed to do was to do less, to focus on myself and let my house look crazy sometimes, or order food 2 nights in a row, or get the help, hire some help. I knew that I couldn't pour from an empty cup. And that cup desperately needed to be filled. Me taking care of the house and the kids felt as if I was barely being noticed. And that was my breaking point because I wasn't getting the affirmations or the confirmation that I needed. So if you ever felt like you were doing so much for people and you still don't feel appreciated, I need you to hear this loud and clear. It is not because you need to do more, it's because you need to do less. Be clear on your worth. That is so critical when it comes to relationships. Part 3, the evolution of becoming that woman, becoming a high value woman. So let's bring this all full circle. Being a high value woman isn't about being perfect. It's not about being cold or even detached, but it is about owning your worth and standing in your power and moving through life with quiet certainty. This is your sign to stop overgiving and start stepping into the life that you actually deserve. So here's what I want you to do. Choose one way that you are going to step into your high value woman energy this week. Maybe it's setting a boundary, or maybe it's saying no without guilt, or even maybe it's just recognizing where you have been overgiving and deciding to shift. That's enough in itself. What if you stopped overgiving for just 1 week? How would you feel? What if you made yourself a priority and watched what people do? What would that feel like? Drop it in the comment and let's hold each other accountable. If this resonates with you, drop a like, subscribe so I know that you are with me. We are on this journey together. If you like this video, make sure to watch my next video on entering your villain era. Until next time, I'm Kaylin. See you guys soon. Bye.